Occasional check-ins with Rob.
How's it going, audience? It's Nick here, and it's time for another occasional check-in with Rob. Rob's my dad. How you doing, Dad?
I'm doing good, Nick. How are you? Nice shirt.
Thank you. I always wear green. Here to ask you what's exciting and new in the world of agriculture.
Well, one of the things that I've been keeping my eye on, Nick, is lately the controversy around the IARC and glyphosate, which is quite a scandal going on right now.
Okay, so tell me a little bit, bullet points about this scandal. What is it that's so scandalous about the IARC?
The IARC in 2015 came up with a ruling that glyphosate could be a possible carcinogen. In every major scientific study before or since that time, nobody else has come up with the same ruling. And now it appears that there is quite a bit of subterfuge going on with the members of the committee of the IARC.
Okay, now I've heard about this then. There has been some question about how these ideas about glyphosate came to be. Maybe some research was neglected. Is that the kind of sense of the matter?
Well, there are three main bullet points right now that have emerged. The first one is that a very large documentation of recent studies that would have essentially substantiated the fact that glyphosate is not a carcinogen were omitted. In other words, one of the members of IARC knew about a major study in glyphosate that says that it's non-carcinogenic, and he withheld that from the IARC hearings.
So a question that a lot of my viewers will be wondering, who cares?
Well, it's very important because right now what's going on is that the ambulance-chasing law firms out there are trying to launch class action lawsuits, and in the United States right now and in Europe right now, glyphosate is under the magnifying glass and with respect to registration or deregistration. So the second piece that's interesting about this is that one of the members of IARC was on retainer with a law firm and has been documented as getting $160,000 while he was on IARC to testify with the law firm against glyphosate.
Okay, so there is some backroom dealing going on, you could say.
Oh, very much so. And then the third piece is Reuters, the news agency, just discovered that by going back in time and looking at some of the original documentation of the original transcripts, that 10 sentences were changed in the transcript that was finally submitted. And those 10 sentences have a 180-degree switch in terms of being glyphosate being not an issue to glyphosate being an issue. So there's all sorts of questions coming out around this whole IARC and the glyphosate, what I'm calling scandal or subterfuge.
Okay, so let's bring this back to the nuts and bolts of it. What does a farmer lose if they're unable to use glyphosate?
Well, glyphosate is one of the safest products that's used in agriculture today. And I was with a scientist in Australia who said that glyphosate is the equivalent of a 1 in 100 year herbicide. It's that good, that efficacious, that safe, that broad spectrum. It's just if you took that away from farmers, you would set us back 20 years in time, and we'd be going back to using a lot more chemistry, a lot more chemicals to control the weeds, and reverting back to a whole bunch more tillage. Because at the end of the day, it's genetic engineering technology or GMOs combined with the ability to use Roundup that has resulted in farmers being able to significantly reduce tillage as they grow crops. It's a big deal.
Well, this sounds like a pretty big deal. This is Nick. This has been an occasional check-in with Rob, and we'll check in with you again in a few months to see where this whole thing's at.
We'll talk occasionally.
Okay, sounds good. Occasional check-ins with Rob.
Occasional check-ins with Rob.